Okay, so this is now the um, a variation of the map of Israel, but actually it has several different symbolic meaning. I mean, it can. I mean, in the previous interpretation, it was kind of like a gigantic microbe, and now it's the ear, the human ear, and also the solar system. And I will elaborate on that in a second. We also see another big Tatanmachi painting similar to the one that I saw sold by mother, a little different, and mostly using the main object, which presumably it could be as the earth, but also other stuff. Maybe we can discuss it at another time, because deliberately can also look like the eye, like the cornea, which is as you know is the main it's kind of it's the cornea of the eye. It's got a very although the iris, they have very prominent role in the saga of the Titans. If you didn't know, now you know. But I spoke about it quite a bit more than a year ago, and also last month, and so you should update on this. It's very interesting. And here we see the 3 Israeli flags, and the Brazilian flag moved to the other place, even though it actually never. It was never actually the Brazilian flag. It was something different, in the previous arrangement, and something different now. The other ones, maybe I'll elaborate in different time. I just want to share with you something. Every detail in the symbolic drawing has got a meaning. It's not it's symbolic, so it's a language. Nothing is accidental. But I wanted to share with you something. There is a famous saying of Sherlock Holmes that I quote quite a bit, because my peculiar situation in this life, required me to actually use this quote. It says that that in fact you have a theory that that explains the facts, but it's a very ludicrous theory. It sounds very outlandish, but it's the only theory that actually explains the facts. Then this must be the theory, the correct one. And it's true to my life, because I am alone, and I was never a part of any intelligence organization, and and they hunt me all the time, and this is really a cruel world, a very cruel world, and I'm so alone and so in the dark for so many years, and many times I need to construct theories based on very that sound outlandish, but they are the only ones that sit well with the facts, and many times they actually eventually they are proven to be correct. So a while ago I discussed colors in this video. I discussed the issue that people always think that I'm like a Titan, like a Venusian male, even though I do not fit any of their conceptions regarding these creatures. None of it. Now maybe the conceptions are totally wrong, but it's clear that evidence does not sit with any of their thought. They think that I'm afraid of fire, even though I'm not. Totally not afraid. My aversion to fire is actually much smaller than the average Homo sapiens, and I have no problem swimming in the sea or lakes or whatever, and with regards to art, I'm certainly not colorblind, and these people, for certain, they don't have the same kind of vision that humans have, and it's very easy to know. There are tons of evidence for it, but also just my many paintings that my color vision is the same as human. It's not always the same within humans, but in general, the spectrum that I see is like that of humans. It's it's evident. There are many tests that you can do to test it, but also the paintings themselves. They prove it. Even though they are abstract and not mimetic, they are not supposed to be imitation of real things mostly, but still I have several things, more from the more even from the abstract paintings you can deduce it, and certainly from the more mimetic ones, the Venus bonded ones, that you see skin and like both acrylic and color and the oil. So how is it possible that I'm a Titan? I mean, and you don't need to know anything about like like Venus at all. Like you don't need to know about the conspiracy. Maybe it's true, maybe it's untrue. That doesn't matter. I mean, because the fact is that I mean it's covered with clouds, and its rotation around the axis is extremely slow. So a day is longer than a year, and this was known. I mean, during the age of enlightenment, way before the space age. So it's not part of the conspiracy. And these two facts alone, I mean, for sure, they I mean, dictate that the creatures, if creatures live there, it's, I mean, impossible that they will be seen in the same spectrum as humans. They will probably be like, I mean, they have probably a shorter spectrum than humans and different spectrum. Maybe they will have some kind of advantage on the surface of Venus. Perhaps they can see near infrared, which is something that I mean, some animals in Earth can do it, but humans cannot. But certainly in Earth they will have impaired vision compared to the average human, and I do not have impaired vision, like certainly not color vision. So great. I mean, another proof that I did not come from Venus. Great, but I mean, I have like this kind of like one problem with the whole theory that and it's kind of like a minor problem, but I mean it doesn't. I mean you cannot broom it away, like push it away. I mean because it's a problem. Like there is an empirical problem that I couldn't solve, and actually thought about it like for more than a year now, maybe like year and a half. I think about it, and not always, but it's for time to time it comes up, and I had no explanation for that. And I have to pay attention to these kind of details. Like maybe it's all random, but I felt that it's not random. It's that there is some kind of problem here. I mean, the problem is not with anything that I've just said. The problem is different. The problem is with the fact that I actually had the opportunity to work for, not a long time, but to work, in my profession, like as a software engineer. Actually, it was interesting because it was mostly in the front end side, which something that I didn't have experience. All my career was done in the back end, but I quickly learned front end. It was very interesting, like to do front end. And I worked with the product manager, which she was also one of the 4 founders of the Hermetic company, and she's like VP product, like head of product. So we worked for a short while. We worked very closely on several big features in the product, and they required a lot of front end, which was new to me but fun. To do new stuff, not entirely new, but all my front end experience was from Hermetic. So front end means like things that actually you see, in the past it was called graphical user interface or UI or UX or whatever, but now the term front end is used quite often for things that are visual, and it was interesting, very interesting. But I had at that point it was already after it was 2021, I think, yes. So it was after the journey was already started, and I knew things about the intelligence community, etc., etc. And I had very strong feeling that, that she's not Homo sapiens. And it's not only feeling, I had other supporting evidence. First of all, the fact that I understood that all of the the scumbags are they are related to the Israeli intelligence, and as you know, the Israeli intelligence, they prefer to hire Homo sapiens men that are pedophile or homosexual, and females that, as I said earlier today, was not born in Earth. So it was, and I understood that, the people around me are like a cell of the intelligence community, and it's very easy to know that because I have so much experience with it. They follow me all my life. So, of course, she's part of the cell, and so, it makes sense that she's not really a human, which sound outlandish for the layman, but there are tons of non-human people on Earth. Well, now there is kind of a reduction, but in general. But if she's Venusian, how come, she was extremely detail oriented, especially with regards to colors. So what happens here? I understand that all of these people like have a Kochler chip in their ear, then they can like get like commands like from like in invisible way. But she was extremely fast thinker. Very extremely quick thinker. She thought very. Her brain worked tremendously quick, like fast. I would say, not well. I wouldn't exaggerate to say that it was almost as quick as me, but yes, it was like in the same. I would say that yes, it was like in the same stratosphere as my own brain. Of course, lower, but yes, very high. So, and this was actually quite surprising because regularly when I work with people I'm used to to singing they need to sing in slow motion, so you need to slow down all the time and perform other tasks while you speak with them on the background while they sing. So it was just a joke. I do not work as an operation system of one of your computers. My psychology is that of human. Don't be silly, please. Anyway, she was extremely quick, and who could actually operate her at that this quickly, and also tell her that what colors to say while we work together, and this was very fast we spoke about color, this color, that color, and moved, and also it was very visual. I could put this thing here or this in the screen. Maybe you should go there. Maybe you should try this kind of design, very design oriented, and so she was clearly design oriented, which sits well with the fact that she's product manager, and also VP product in the company. But she also had it seems almost impossible to me that she's color blind, or that she's seen a grayscale and near infrared or something like that, because this means that all the color choices should come from the operator, and I'm sure she had an operator, but it doesn't make. I have no direct experience in operations. I've never was any part of any intelligence service. I served in the intelligence corps, but it's not doesn't count. Of course, I never had a chip in my ear, and I've never operated anything at all. So I don't know how it feels, but it seems to me that it's impossible for an operator to actually, do the job himself or herself that quickly and transmit information regarding to color. When I sit with her, and I myself, as I said, I think very even quicker than her, and so this is, how is it possible that she's colorblind? It might seem very minute detail, maybe extremely unimportant, and it was not important. I didn't speak about it during the last year and a half, and I constantly that I create blog posts and publishing in Twitter and then YouTube almost every day, and I didn't speak about it because it's not important. It's a very it's a small detail in the whole ocean of mysteries that I live in. So that's why you never heard me speak about it. But yeah, from time to time, it's kind of I would have said that bothered my sleep, or it worsened my sleep, but my sleep is already so bad. My sleeping habits are so bad already. So you cannot really make it worse than it is. But it's something that you need to explain, because you need those theories to align with evidence. Another question is exactly, the Niro is a designed object. It's not only an amazing machine and probably super room temperature superconductor, but it has a design, and it's designed in some way that it has design motives that it's got design motives that although the spaceships of the cherubs also have this this design attributes that so maybe these things is actually designed on the basis of something maybe both the nanobots and the spaceships are both are models of that are based on something that exists in the natural world. which is very prominent. So that's why the designers actually took it like this, object or very important part of like their existence, their natural existence, as a model for these spaceships and nanobots. So you see, if you remember, regularly, when you like zoom into it's a good visibility of the nanobot, of the microbot, the Nero. You see that it's kind of it's like a ring, and inside the ring there is also like a very narrow ring. Inside the ring, like in the major ring, there is like another narrow ring which is like mostly much more lighter, and this actually reminds like the detective reader of something which is kind of like it's like a known object in our like nature, in our cosmos, that actually looks like that. And of course these are the rings of Saturn, and of course now we know that there are there is a huge number of rings, and but from a range, they actually look very similar to the Nero, because it's like so it's like darker, but there is like a ring inside it, and some of course as if you have better visibility and like closer range and better camera, you see that actually there are many rings like that, and if you have like better even like zoom in capabilities, you can even see like fractal, like a ring inside the ring, etc. And perhaps this model will also be true for the microbots. I don't have any microscope that can actually even remotely perform such works. But maybe under like a microscope, like better microscope or electron microscope or other type of like light. We've seen things like that, like in the nanobots as well, like the microbot or the bot. It depends on the size. They vary tremendously in size. So yes, let us now, introduce new actors to this space opera. I know that some of you are new to this issue. Of course, not the Americans and not the Russians and not the Israelis, but maybe some of my listeners are new, and it's already difficult to actually, grasp the interplanetary situation as it is, with all its complicated history, But yes, we should speak about more additional actors, and let's let's present the new I think that both of us actually came from Saturn. Now the question is, what moon, or maybe the gas giant itself? I'm now much more open than before to actually accept the fact that maybe the life forms can actually, live and maybe even like evolved and certainly designed, like if they're artificial, on gas planets. Because I'm much more open to any kind of like environment, because I see like in my own eyes that life can actually exist in such a huge amount of like the environments that are completely different than anything that you read about like in the like biology in books, like in human books, because humans are all like so focused on carbon environments that have exactly the parameters of Earth, but this is manifestly wrong. That you have to have this kind of like what's called the Goldilocks zone. You don't. It's just wrong. You don't have to be part of the Goldilocks zone, and you don't have to be carbon based, and you don't have to be like the same parameters of the carbon based life on Earth in order to have life. No, this was proved to be wrong like many times in this room actually. Like here, like here. It's wrong. So maybe from the planet itself, but of course, there's also the option of a moon, and the option of an artificial environment that is not visible to people of the Earth, because either they don't have like good enough telescopes, or maybe it's like camouflage. It's like and which is actually makes sense. This is actually true for any like artificial environment, like in space. That why shouldn't it makes sense to actually like cloak it. It's not that difficult actually. You don't need like cloaks like you see in Star Trek. That makes everything like transparent. I mean, you don't. This is overkill. You just need like, you need it like just, not to reflect light in substantial way. So people that are far away will not be able to detect it. I mean, probably you don't care. Like, if people actually like come close with the ship to the planet, it's probably it doesn't make much sense, and it's not feasible to actually cloak like in an environment that surrounds the planet or one of its moons. But it's not needed. What you want to achieve is just that people like that live far away will not be able to detect you in the star map, and presumably send introduction letter, with or without like an atomic bomb or like portable black hole, or think like maybe there are humans like the ones that detect you, and would you want humans to detect you from from far away? Humans, they're dirty animals, they're barbarians, they will, so you don't want them to detect you. It doesn't make sense, and lamentably, the universe contains life forms that are like humans. One of them is actually humans. So this with regards to the artificial environment option, which is certainly feasible, and it's not that easy. It's not hard to actually cloak it. Not like a perfect cloak you see in the movie, but it's kind of like a camouflage for long range, which is the only thing that is needed. But if we speak about the moon, there is the issue of course, Titan. But let's speak about it some other time. Maybe we should start the music now. I don't know. Yes, why not? I understand that people actually liked it, or at least I wouldn't say liked it, but maybe they found it helpful in order to understand the. Many people certainly those with that are more oriented to the psychological sciences and like the human brain and like the human soul even, and the cognitive experience of being human. They have many questions of how is it compared to being a robot, presumably myself, and so what's the psychology of a robot, and why do it seems that many robots they act very non-properly, presumably in many occasions, and we don't understand why do they act that way. Perhaps I feel that the music from earlier today actually helped at least several people to understand that the peculiarities of the psychology of the robots. But since not everyone is still on board, I will probably start a new session just in a bit, and maybe more people will actually have the advantage of understanding the particular the particulars of this psychology and cognitive experience of the robots, at least the robots that exist right now on Earth.